let us move on to our first panel discussion of today. And for that, we have a topic that is data and technology, the blueprint of digital economy. And just give me a moment, dear guests, till they set up the stage. I would announce our panelists for this particular panel here. And as I call upon your names, I would request you to come and join us on stage. And as they set up the seats, you can take whichever seat you find you like the most, I guess. So yes, first we have with us, and we are sure we'll give a huge round of applause to each panelist, right? We have a very, very good discussion pack for you. Yes? Do I hear a louder yes from everyone? All right. So our first panelist today is Shri Maheswara Bishoyee, Chief General Manager, IT for NTPC Limited. Please, sir. Next, we have with us Shri Rajeev Bhardwaj, Executive Director, MIS and HR for Container Corporation of India Limited. Next on stage, we have Mr. Ankit Mehra, Director of Technology Sales South Asia for Entrust. Last but not the least, we have Ms. Vandna Singh, National Strategy Manager, PSU and Government for Iron Mountain. And to moderate this panel, may I invite Mr. Vipul Oberoi, Director, Marketing, CSR and Learning Solutions at Dun & Bradstreet India, to take the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, panelists, for taking out time to be part of this summit. The theme of which is gearing for Amrit Kal, and we are talking about Amrit Kal, which is the horizon is for the next 25 years. We are also, the government is talking about India being Atmanirbhar. We are talking about Atmanirbhar Bhavishya, and for both these things, I think one of the most important initiatives that the government has taken was in 2015 when it started with Digital India, where the focus on digitizing, focusing on digitalizing the delivery channels on the government side for PSUs as well as for government agencies. I think that has been one of the biggest steps that have been taken. So perhaps if I can take that leap, India has emerged as one of the fastest growing emerging economies, and to a large extent it is also because of the digitization and the digitalization, the technology prowess that we have, which has resulted in the falling costs and rising availability of technology and digital infrastructure, and of course high speed internet connectivity. So with the focus on digital infrastructure, governance and digital empowerment of citizens, I think the whole digital landscape is rapidly changing, and PSUs and government agencies have been at the forefront in fact of adopting digital technologies. It's what is called the digital first approach, which the PSUs have adopted. They have become more future ready. They have started integrating digital technologies like AI, ML, data analytics and IoT to improve processes in several areas. So their enhanced focus has helped them in reinventing service delivery to the citizens, enhancing business model and bringing speed and agility to their processes. So in this context, we have this session on data and technology for creating a blueprint of the digital economy. So we'll be talking here. We have esteemed panelists from PSU's Container Corporation of India. We have Mr. Maheswara from NTPC, and we also have Vandna from Iron Mountain and Ankit from Entrust, who are helping PSUs in undertaking that digital journey. So if I can start with you, Mr. Maheswara, on what are the digital initiatives which NTPC has been taking, and if you can enlighten the audience on that.
As you know, NTPC Limited is basically a power generation company. We are 74 gigawatt installed capacity, roughly producing 25% of India's total electricity requirement. So we are basically in B2B segment. We are now distributing to consumers, basically to state governments, to distribution companies. We have plants in thermal, hydro, gas, as well as solar, some wind. So it is a mix of all the type of electricity producing plants. So now with more and more emphasis, we are going to renewable. We are slowly moving, but it will take some time, as presently we have got so many challenges. Now let's come to what we have done so far on digitalization front. I will categorize in 3 to 4 segments. First is process automation, which started as early as 2007 with SAP. SAP, when we adopted, it was not suitable for power sector in India, because in India we are working in a regulatory environment which was not prevalent in the world. So present SAP is almost 30 to 40% our own development. That is number one. Number two, we launched a massive paperless campaign in 2007. It is one of the biggest campaign with a lot of we identified 160 processes, including e-office. We launched in 2007. By end 2018, it was ready, and by mid 2019, we are almost all 95% paperless. 5% was pending, like vendor invoice payment, which we did in the 2020 after pandemic, during the pandemic, when almost all movements were seized and vendors faced lot of issues. So that also was automated. Today we are 100% paperless. Now what about the legacy documents? We had a lot of legacy documents. We categorize the documents which needs to be digitized, and we digitize we formulated a plan, how many years it is to be kept, what are the important documents. We took the approval from the board and we digitized, and the hard copies were sent to the document retention centers. As Iron Mountain was, they were describing, we have dispatched almost 20 crore or more, I think. I don't know the exact figure. Pages were scanned and sent. In our paperless drive, we are not producing any paper now. Whether any type of thing, in our, we call it Pradeep project. Today 112 crores pages every year are there in forms of digital form, which is equivalent to 10.7 lakh trees saving paper.
Can you repeat that number?
112 crore pages in our system, which would have been generated otherwise in the system, printed. So it is equivalent to 10.7 lakhs trees, healthy trees, grown up trees, and carbon credit wise it is 6,800 tons of carbon credit. So that was done. Next, we have adopted Microsoft 365 for collaboration. So we have given license to all our employees, so they can work from anywhere, anytime, from any place. So that kind of collaboration arrangement we have done. Then the legacy, we have got almost 80 plus mobile and web applications for maintaining our internet and other things. A lot many applications also, legacy applications, 80 plus applications. And to top it off, IT security. IT security is most vital, cyber security, and we have taken all necessary steps, including 24 into 7 CSOC, Security Operations Center. We are in talking with Ministry There are a lot of guidelines from certain, so that we are on constant touch with all our stakeholders in terms of updating our systems, softwares, and other things. So that is in short.
So, Mr. Bishoyee, you touched on three aspects of digitalization done within NTPC. One was going paperless, and that's a huge cost saving that you are doing. Second is on connectivity within the employees, and third is IT security. These are, in fact, what we see here is what Mr. Bishoyee said is there is a lot of internal improvements that they could do through digitalization. And I'm here speaking also to Mr. Bhardwaj, and Concor is also about last mile connectivity. It is about being in touch with the customer all the time. And there you were mentioning about something related to tracking, which is basically at the core of the whole logistics business.
See, at the outset, first of all, I will thank Mr. Arun Kumar giving us such a good presentation on public sector undertakings, telling that the return on capital, the CPSs which they give, it is always higher than the private sector. So one of the myths that we have in the general public as a citizen, that public sector returns are poor, it is not like that. So our returns are always higher, and if you give a higher return, it has to have a robust system to work on. And in an organization where the transparency is the key, the kind of transparency all the CBSEs have. So for maintaining that transparency, we develop a system on which, on a real-time basis, my stakeholders can access my information. The first computerization and the IT-driven thing starts from there. Now, being in Container Corporation, it is a customer-centric organization. On a daily basis, we deal with the customer, and it's a perishable services. So because we run container trains, if my wagon goes empty, the services perish. So, and we are not in a monopoly. We are facing stiff competition with all the multinational companies. It is not only the Indian companies. And still we can say we have the largest market share in India, and we are maintaining our market share till date, despite opening of the market since 2006 onwards. So the operational aspect is the key driver for us. Since beginning, Container Corporation was born in 1988, and since then, there is a written policy in Container Corporation that everything has to be computerized. In 1990 to 1994, when this MS Office was not there, we used to use Word Prefect and Word Star. So, data management center means a storing of the data, then getting a server of the data, then transformation of the data, means a storage to data engineering to data analytics. That is a continuous journey, and this journey is still on. We can always proclaim in the open that we are one of the most IT driven company. We are now achieving a stage of AI/ML. It is already in the process, where in such a huge terminal where we handle millions of containers, on a real-time basis, a customer can track their containers getting handled and getting loaded on live on their mobile phone or on the screen. So we are going to achieve that stage now.
So, in fact, you mentioned very a specific thing about competitiveness, because you're competing not just with Indian companies but MNCs as well. And I'm sorry, I think I missed that point as well. While it improves productivity, it improves connectivity, there's a citizen delivery, we often forget about the competition aspect of it. I think, has your business seen that kind of growth as well?
The competition, see, we started in a very like a public sector undertaking, because you know the government policy where public sector comes into play. When the level of economy has not reached the commercialization level, where the investment from the private sector is not get attracted. So when this decongestion of port activity as a worldwide project to decongest the port, this containerization logistics came into India. So this aspect was given to the Ministry of Railways, and the Ministry of Railways created this corporation to improve the efficiency of the ports, to decongest the port, and then to create a port on the hinterland, what we call it inland container depot or the container freight station. So initially nobody was finding it interesting in making those investments. So Container Corporation took that responsibility as a national, creating national assets. But in the year 2006, this sector was completely open to all the public sector, all the private sectors. And more than 17 players took license from the government to do same and similar business akin to Container Corporation. And at that point of time, Container Corporation privileges were withdrawn by the government. We also have to pay the same amount of 50 crore rupees to government to continue our business. So for taking a fresh license. And with proud I can tell you, even after 15 years, 20 years of those competition, we are still number one. But that is our strength, that is our business potential. And because, why I am telling that business potential? Because we evolve ourselves according to the demand of the market. My biggest client is multinational companies. And our ethos is, my decision making process should be faster than those companies. So how it can be faster than those companies? My all terminals are interconnected with IT on a real-time basis. My data flow is on a real-time basis. The e-office, which is being used as a tool in each and every government, we have augmented even those tools that my remotest terminal can send the file on a click of a button within minutes, less than minute, rather in fraction of seconds. And the decision making goes on. And you can ask from any multinational shipping company, those are my clients, used to be our clients, now they are becoming my competitors also. So we have aligned with them in a strategic way. That is a different decision making process. The decision making process of Container Corporation of India is better than those multinational companies because of this IT networking, data flow, real-time sharing of the information. So we are a very highly IT driven company, and we profess to continue with that. And right now we are going into AI/ML in a big way.
Sure. So, in fact, competition, you talked about collaboration as well, and in a way that has developed the whole sector to become more efficient. And Vandana, with your experience of working with various PSUs, are there any instances where you have tried to improve, help the PSUs improve their digital public services delivery?
Yeah. So there are many places where we were able to help that. The major challenge which PSUs are facing currently.
No, Mike, closer to you.
Is it fine now? Yeah. So the major challenge which PSUs are facing currently is the data which is lying in several places. The online, what you may mention that with e-office and all those things are got streamlined for the current thing, right? But still the legacy data is lying in their warehouses, in different offices that are at different places. The whole data is still not digitized. It is lying in the physical form in different places. And there is some data which has been partially digitized also. And now when we have data lying in a different locations and all that, the major challenge is to bring all the data together for easy access, for interpretation, and use that effectively. So we were able to help major banks. We are associated with almost all the key banks where we are helping them with the same solutions.
And when it comes to, and we are talking about digitalization of all the records as well, what challenges have you seen in terms of the offline data storage? Because that is the legacy data and the challenge you spoke about. So how was the state of the offline data storage?
Yeah, so okay, so that physical storage is one of our key business on which we are. We are storing records, which Anuj also mentioned in his presentation, that we are storing around 25 million, more than 25 million records in our facilities lying there. And the challenge which is there, if we look into all the public sector, they are storing their records, uniformity of record maintenance is not there. And at that time, players like us come into the picture where we help them storing records securely, safely in our facilities. all the standards which we maintain for secure storage of record, maintaining, keeping the, chain of record, custody of record is very important when it comes to the records in public sector. I think the kind of records which public sector has, nobody else has, right? The kind of critical record, customer, citizen record, which is lying with them, and it's very, very important to uh, store them securely and safely. So we are helping in that way.
Good to hear that. And Ankit, with Entrust Technologies, again, have you got any examples where you have helped PSUs take their journey?
Absolutely. Am I audible? So, yeah, Entrust, obviously, like we have been helping the PSU's government in a very broader terms. Like, for example, there is a lot of data. So, as everyone said, data is a new oil. So, how do you secure your data? How do you identify your data? Uh, Data is lying everywhere. People do not recognize where exactly your data is. Now, how do you secure it? That is one of the major challenges here. We are not able to recognize like what needs to be secured, what not need to be. Like everything cannot be secured, and so it has to be a judicious decision for that. Now, talking about PSUs, like when it comes to securing the technologies like Aadhaar, like we have been using Aadhaar in and out for KYC and all of those purposes. Like, do we know how basically Aadhaar is secured? So we do help organizations in that. So probably some of you have heard of a term called Aadhaar Data Vault, or maybe like eKYC. So like this is where Entrust brings value to that. We help to secure it by encrypting that, by giving the right credentials. Now, apart from that, we helps to secure the your identities. So the first challenge for organization is that whenever someone tries to hack into your his identity, how do you secure your identity, and how what is the best thing that you can do to secure identity is basically like you can have like a certificate based authentication. We do as the risk based authentication. That's one of the core terms called as a CB and the RBA, which is critical to that. So this is where like Entrust helps in that. Key management is one of the things like I like which is gaining traction these days, but still not gain. It's not into momentum. Like people are not aware. Like okay, I am encrypting a lot of stuff, but how do I do the management of my encryption keys or my signing keys? E-invoicing, digital invoicing has been mandated, but are we doing a rightful thing? So this is where again like Entrust helps with their relevant products, like whether it is like SSL certificate, whether it is like cryptographic modules, whether it is like a private trust, key management systems, identities, securing identities. This is what Entrust helps to do that.
So while there are a host of things, do you feel that the understanding of the gravity or the enormity of the situation that has really been properly understood, or it's only a matter of how people are trying to figure out how to go about it?
People are aware like what needs to be done, where some of the things which have been overlooked or like people are unaware, like whether we need to look into that or not. Like for example, like we were discussing about the next 25 years, which the current government has a lot of focus. Typically, we are all discussing about the Amrit Kal. Now, quantum threat is there. So those are the things. Okay, but that is still a future. But as of now, in the current situation, also there are a lot of many things which are being overlooked, as I mentioned. So we need to think a lot and yeah, Entrust as an organization. We are into like a 5 decades of a 5 decade old organization, and we have been helping PSUs, government, private institutions, banking, typically. So yeah.
So, Mr. Bishoyee, what do you see are the trends there in that sense? Because NTPC has already undertaken that journey. And as I understand what Ankit and I were just discussing about, it has been understood that this journey has to be taken. You have to digitize. You have taken firm steps also. Next, what do you see are the key emerging trends?
Yeah. Now, once you have data, so In NTPC, we have got two types of data. One is the real-time data, which are getting continuously from the plants, and what one data is comes from the systems, say SAP or Pradeep. So decision making is done using both type of data. For example, plant is sending real-time generation data. So if some alert is generated, something fails or something happens, so comes to immediately notice of the senior management. So proper people intervene, officials, and rectification becomes easy. Now, the system data, what we are using analytics. Using analytics, we are generating as per our requirement for decision making. For example, suppose we have got 10 plants. Now every costing is different, generation cost. So if I can, if our director wants to know which is my most economical plant, where I can generate and get more profit, so he can see on his dashboard. So that kind of analytics has been developed under process. Now next comes the using AI and ML, using the real-time data and taking the historical data. Comparing that, the system will generate when the machine is going to fail, or when predictive maintenance is, it will tell when maintenance is to be done. So we have done something, we are in the process of doing this part, already tender process is there. Next one is the analytics of the video analytics. So video analytics is important for example, lot many assets are remotely located. For example, your solar plants. Solar plants is vast area and no manpower is there. So using drones or using cameras, you get continuous pictures, and analyzing the pictures, you can take decision. Arch dikes. Arch dikes are located outside the main plant, vast areas of the thermal plants. So drone is used, and using the video analytics, we can dictate where it needs repairing, or where some dust is moving due to wind, dust is there. That kind of decision is taken. And the third is the project construction using the drones. So physical progress as well as safety of the manpower working there, everything can be done through analytics. So you are adopting this kind of analytics using the data available with us on day in and day out basis to help the management as well as our organizations to benefit from that.
And Mr. Bishoyee, you specifically mentioned about how you are taking various data from various sources for better decision making. And I think that is one of the key benefits of any technology infrastructure. And Mr. Bhardwaj, is there a use of analytics in your domain as well?
See, data analytics is the present requirement of, because if you see, it was like any other organization initially getting networked, we used to think that we are highly computerized. So only getting network is not how much actionable data we are able to derive from that network. That is the efficiency. And once how we will get that depends upon the quality of data analytics. So data analytics, as a HR person, first of all, this came to me, this idea was given to me in 2015-16 when HR analytics were being used. And it was used in terms of IT sectors where there was a predictive analysis which employee is going to leave you in another 3 months. It is there. As on date also, that tool is available with us. As a public sector, I will not boast that I am using that thing, but I have got experimented that thing. So it is a very sensitive data, and it depends upon how you handle this thing. So that is HR analytics. At the same time, another data analytics is okay, which are the customer who is going to come with you and continue with you for a larger time, and who are going to leave you. That is another kind of data analytics that we are right now getting it analyzed at the back end. So, and this thing, because yesterday I happens to speaking to one of a very young generation, fourth year student at Edinburgh. I was on the chatting with him, and he was talking to his prospective professor. We three were there. So that professor asked him, "Okay, what kind of thesis you are writing?" And that young boy, he said, "See, we are working on a data on which when we derive that data," so he used the word, the meaning which came to me, and that was the correct meaning. Okay, that data will be masked and some fake data will be shown to you, so that your data is protected on the back end, and on the front end you get the real picture of that. So the kind of security now the people are thinking data protection, data mining, and when this data within my organization. So as a layman and as an organizational and a businessman, I think that the data which we were keeping in, it was purely a data management. When there was a channel, data engineering was done, it got access to my computer desktop. That was only a data access management engineering, but we were thinking that that was analytics. That was not the analytics. Now, how my system is going to what we call it, Bill Gates gave this word, and I always used to be wistful for that. Creating a digital nervous system, how my whole computer network on a real time basis can give me a warning, give me an alert, give me a real time picture. Okay, now at this time you have to act like this. So that is going to be the ultimate thing, and that is a continuous process. We cannot come to a halt on that. So that continuous journey will be there of learning and thinking organization. So by IT, my philosophy is that you should continuously evolve, be in a continuously learning and thinking way, adapt and adopt the technology, which is we should not falter. Every 6 months it changes.
So the digital nervous system is what you rightly said, and it's a public digital infrastructure which is extremely crucial now. And as we are expanding, as India's population is growing, as the number of services being provided by both private and public sector is increasing. Vandana, what is your thought on the role of PSUs in building that public digital infrastructure?
So actually, PSUs are playing very important role in that, the digital transformation. The major data which I discussed that is being handled by PSUs, right? So they are the key players. And when it comes about the data, it comes about the security of that data, regular updates on those things. So whenever it comes about the more of data security and the access of the data everywhere, there Iron Mountain players like Iron Mountain comes into the picture who can actually help to integrate that data, give them the easy access wherever it is required, and how we can use the data securely and safely. So yes, so PSUs are the major game changer on this, the digital transformation.
That's really good to hear. And when we are talking about the role of PSUs, and you've said that it's a critical role. So in the whole the idea, the thought of Amrit Kal, which has a horizon of about 25 years. So Ankit, do you think first of all is considering we are talking about data and technology, is 25 years too far off in the horizon, or it's reasonable? Should we have more short-term goals there?
The way technology is like changing rapidly, and then from a 25 years perspective, obviously it's kind of like a situation where anything can't be said that okay, whether this technology will you can say whether you can embrace with that technology for another 10 years, 15 years, or 25 years, whatever we are thinking of as part of the Amrit Kal. And obviously as part of Amrit Kal, it's I think there's a 5 Panch Ratan and like seven Saptarishi that they are calling. So technology and like innovation is part of that, and I believe yeah, it's a challenging thing, but there are many things which can be a part of that and can be will be most important. For example, the quantum age which is coming, and it will be there. So there are quantum systems. Organizations such as IBM and Google, they have built up those systems, and organizations like us, Entrust, we are having systems which are actually quantum safe. So all our products are quantum safe, which help you to deal with that, because the current age systems that you're using, or your applications, and even all your cryptographic assets, they won't be basically it's kind of like a user, because they will be easily broken by those systems. So how do you make that? So in 2000 there was a Y2K problem. Now it's basically a YQK problem. So that is the thing which is actually someone needs to think, PSUs, government, because there's a lot of data which will be at risk. Obviously, we need to secure that, and how judicially we secure that. That is something where Entrust can do a lot to help in that. So, like for example, the current example I can give it, the recent e-passport. So we are helping with the government to help coming up with the e-passports, and whatever the technology that we are already providing, it's all quantum safe and quantum ready. So this is one of the things that we can think. But yeah, so obviously 25 years is up coming. You can say to your response. It's a challenging thing, but I think it's still future proof. Like at least like 15 years or so, considering that. Yeah, because whenever we come up with a product, obviously it has a 10 to 15-year timeline. So it's a future perspective.
So the YQK problem or opportunity, however you want to one looks at it, do you think the company should start worrying about it right now, or is there still time?
Obviously, yeah, absolutely. So we need to think of that, like because the current like we all mentioned data and everything, data security, everyone was mentioning, but the current algorithms that we are using, encryption algorithms, they will be broken by those quantum systems. They are actually. It's been proved.
Nice. Yeah, please.
In Amrit Kal, because the whole concept, the word we have not used this Amrit Kal, and you have raised this issue right now at the end. We should think in a holistic manner that this country is a big country and there is a large population which is still agrarian population. This IT-driven technology is going to replace all the rule-based job. Let us take it for granted. So from where the new job will come? And there lies the skilling. The next 25 years, India requires to skill their low-end qualified person to fill up that gap. Unless you don't, because this data entry and even now the code writing, if ChatGPT has started doing that, so we can appreciate that even low-end job of the coding will go off. So all the rule-based job is going to be replaced by this IT-driven technology. Then where do this manpower, this large number of manpower, where we have to accommodate them? It is only the two places. It is the low-end job and high-end job, which will remain in demand. So we have to shape our skilling sector accordingly, because in next 25 years we all will be replaced. And whether that replacing population, we are gearing them adequately to meet that high level of a standard that is required. As on that, our scaling, the qualitative scaling and the quantitative scaling, there is a mismatch. That is the biggest sector where we have to focus.
So as they say, you might not lose your job to AI, but you might certainly lose your job to someone who knows how to use AI. And I think on that note, it's a very interesting note to end this conversation. Of course, we can always go on and learn more, discuss more, and enlighten ourselves more. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing your views. It's been quite enlightening, and I think what everybody has stressed is that we're not saying that PSUs will be embarking on a journey of data and technology. They have already been there. They have already had a head start on this, and I think, as Vandana also pointed out, going forward, PSUs will be playing the major role in creating a proper digital public infrastructure. So, thank you everyone.